On climate and the environment, our series continues tonight and this evening here, endangered rivers here in the U.S. Tonight, the battle over the Snake River in the Northwest. Some environmentalists ranking it.
The Army Corps of Engineers could be up against a possible lawsuit over a high water temperature in the Snake River. Seattle.
Deep in the heart of Idaho, where farmlands stretch to the horizon and the South Fork of the Snake River meanders through open country, an unsettling phenomenon is making headlines. Cracks, wide, imposing, and seemingly bottomless, are splitting open across the Snake River plain. For generations, this landscape has slept in quiet anonymity, shaped by ancient forces most have long since forgotten. But now, a series of loud, subterranean booms and the sudden emergence of giant fissures are stirring memories of a more volatile past. Local residents describe the thunderous sounds that sometimes precede the appearance of new cracks, and how the earth itself seems to shudder just before it gives way. These splits in the ground are not subtle. They cut boldly through farmland, exposing raw earth below. This is not the first time the ground has ruptured in Idaho, but the scale and frequency of the latest fissures are alarming many. Are these fractures random outcomes of heavy rains and shifting soils, or signs of deeper geologic unrest? The plain's history is fiery and violent, written by titanic forces that, though largely dormant, persistently simmer far below. With each new crack, it seems as if the ancient secrets of this land are threatening to re-emerge, challenging our understanding of the ground beneath our feet. What could be happening 2 miles under the wheat and sagebrush? Are these openings warnings of changes underway below? What lies behind the massive fissures in Idaho's Snake River plain? And could their dramatic reappearance signal a transformation set in motion eons ago?
The Idaho State Department of Agriculture has closed boat ramps and are asking the public to stay out of the Snake River in the Centennial Waterfront Park area after they found mussel larvae.
The Snake River plain, landscape forged by fire. To grasp why fissures are tearing open the Snake River plain today, it helps to travel back millions of years to an era when fire ruled this land. Arcing across southern Idaho, the Snake River plain forms a vast, low sweep of ground, unlike the jagged peaks that rise on its flanks. This is no ordinary valley. It is the product of relentless geological violence, a corridor carved out by forces drawn up from Earth's deepest layers. Beneath the surface, a mantle plume has spent eons melting rocks, creating immense magma chambers filled with partially molten rock. It is this pulse of geothermal energy that changed Idaho forever, breaking the crust time and again and transforming the landscape with each event. Ancient super-eruptions, among the largest on the planet, once ripped through the region. The Snake River plain bore witness as vast rifts opened and released surges of lava and ash, covering large stretches of land. Rivers of molten basalt swept across ground that is today dotted with farmland and towns, creating sheet after sheet of solid rock. The remains of that fiery age now lie buried beneath the surface, shaping the rise and hollow of the plain. Yet the violence that built the Snake River plain is far from just a relic of the past. The same mantle heat behind super-eruptions continues to bubble and seethe beneath, with its energy most visible in the rift zones, long, sometimes dramatic cracks left behind by shifting tectonic plates and upwelling magma. The memory of those primal forces is written across Idaho's landscape. The Snake River itself follows courses first laid down by old fissures, tracing a path originally etched by flowing fire. The surface may appear tranquil, but far below, the story is still unfolding. Could Idaho's rash of fissures and underground booms be echoes of these ancient primal forces, awakening again, even in some subtle way? The Great Rift, a living scar in the Snake River plain. Among the many rift zones of southern Idaho, one commands attention: bold, unmistakable, and restless. The Great Rift stretches for about 85 kilometers across the Snake River Plain, a deep, jagged gash between 2 and 8 kilometers wide. It is more than just a geological divide. It is a place where the Earth's hidden energies have surfaced repeatedly, shaping the land above and below. This volcanic rift zone has been the stage for some of Idaho's most spectacular geological events. Less than 15,000 years ago, during the latest Pleistocene and into the Holocene, huge outpourings of basaltic lava poured through the Great Rift, producing some of the region's youngest and most dramatic lava fields. The Great Rift is a visible path between surface and depths, a direct line to energies that continue to animate the region. Volcanic rift zones like the Great Rift are places of tension where the crust is pulled apart by forces below. When stress builds up, rifts act as lines of weakness along which the ground can break open. This makes fissure-type eruptions possible, events where the Earth unzips along long cracks, letting magma flow directly onto the plain in sheets. Unlike classic volcanoes with their central cones, rift-linked eruptions spread out over wide areas, shaping the land in broad strokes. The Great Rift is not simply a fossil from the past. Evidence suggests its interior still contains pockets of fluid and magma. Ongoing heat from the Mantle plume keeps the area active, providing both the promise of geothermal energy and the reminder of the region's volcanic origin. Today's fissures seem to align with these old volcanic scars. Reports from locals suggest the cracks do not just appear at random, but often follow ancient fault lines, as if guided by an invisible map within the bedrock. Are the current fissures simply the latest in an age-old conversation between fire and stone, or could they herald more significant change beneath the surface? Cracks in the earth, modern fissures, and their alarming return. In recent months, the Snake River Plain has drawn national attention as new fractures open across its farmlands. The pattern is hard to ignore. Cracks wide enough to endanger livestock and farm equipment are appearing where the ground ought to be stable. Their arrival is often preceded by reports of booming, thunder-like noises, believed to originate deep underground. Farmers and residents have watched with growing concern. Every new fissure disrupts the landscape. Fields are scarred, irrigation disrupted, and the security of homes and roadways put in doubt. Some cracks appear suddenly, sometimes after heavy rainfall saturates the ground, recalling incidents elsewhere, like the 15-foot-wide Arizona fissure that famously swallowed a horse after a period of rain. However, Idaho's fissures display a scale and frequency that feel unprecedented to those who live and work the land. The intensity and extent of this activity, especially when linked to underground booms, suggest more than just shifting soil. What is triggering this renewed fissure activity? Many experts point to the underlying rift zones and the enduring possibility of movement along these ancient weaknesses. With mantle heat rising and keeping crustal rocks under stress, conditions remain ripe for breakage at the surface. Each new fissure may be another sign of the ongoing, though gradual, negotiation between Idaho's surface and its restless interior. The fact that new openings closely track the alignment of older volcanic faults reinforces this view. The Snake River Plain is not just a landscape of relics, but an evolving system that can be nudged into action by weather, groundwater, and by the enduring processes deep within the earth. Might these cracks be harbingers, visible clues to slow transformations taking place far beneath? Could the booms that signal their formation be messages from the rocks and fluids miles below? The Mantle plume and magma chambers, forces lurking below. To understand the origins of Idaho's fissures, we have to look deep into Earth's structure, to depths far below ordinary perception. There, the story of the Snake River Plain unfolds in the language of heat, pressure, and molten rock. It all begins with the Mantle plume, an immense column of heat that rises from deep within the planet. As this plume pushes upward, it encounters the crust, melting rocks and creating magma chambers beneath Idaho. There are principally two major zones of partially molten magma deep under the plain. These reservoirs' existence is confirmed by geophysical studies and surface geothermal activity, such as hot springs. These deep pools of magma have decisively shaped Idaho's landscape. When pressures in them grow too high, some of the molten rock can push toward the surface, finding release through faults and rifts. Through the ages, this process has resulted in immense fissure eruptions, events big enough to coat huge swaths of the Snake River Plain in fresh basalt. Efforts to use this geothermal heat, such as by the Snake River Geothermal Consortium, focus on the vast quantities of energy stored about 2 miles down. This bounty offers the promise of reliable, renewable energy, but comes with challenges. The Mantle plume itself is not a stable feature. Its heat continues to rise, shifting the balance of pressure across the rocks above. Occasionally, this energy makes its presence known in the form of seismic tremors, or now through surface fissures and strange underground sounds. Scientists monitor the region diligently. Super-eruptions, those major landscape-altering events, have recurrence intervals much longer than 600,000 years. Smaller events, such as the formation of fissures or lesser lava flows, can occur much more frequently, sometimes in clusters. The plain's rift zones, including the Great Rift, are the surface expression of those deeper energies. Are the magma chambers below shifting now? Is this new fissure activity merely chance, or do these cracks suggest a subtle rebalancing of heat and pressure within the Earth, expressed on the fields above? Rift zones and fissure eruptions. Lessons from the past. Rift zones are some of geology's most dramatic features, existing where the Earth is slowly pulled apart, sometimes with catastrophic consequences. Movement along these rifts offers occasional reminders that the region's ancient violence is not completely spent. The Snake River Plain's rift zones have a well-documented history of erupting from fissure vents, great cracks in the ground that serve as conduits for magma. At various times over the past several 100,000 years, entire portions of Idaho opened along these rifts, releasing extraordinary floods of basaltic lava. Sheet-like flows radiated outward for dozens of miles, hardening into the black, rocky plains that now shape much of the region. These eruptions didn't create towering volcanoes. Rather, they sent ribbons and sheets of molten rock across the landscape. The Columbia River basalts, to which the Snake River basalt flows are related, offer examples of such processes on a continental scale. The river itself frequently follows the ancient paths cleared by these flows, a reminder that present geography is rooted in volcanic origins. Fissure eruptions differ from the cone-building events typical of well-known volcanoes like Mount St. Helens. Instead of a central point of eruption, the Earth's crust splits and molten rock escapes along broad cracks. Sometimes the result is a dramatic, large-scale lava flood. Other times, the activity is limited to local sags and smaller-scale ruptures. Major fissure eruption events are rare, with recurrence intervals stretching over tens or hundreds of thousands of years. Smaller fissuring events can and do occur more often, gradually rewriting the map. With each opening or reawakening, new features are added atop the old. Given this history, can we really call the Snake River Plain dormant? Or is it simply in between notable outpourings, with its rift zones waiting, sometimes for centuries or millennia, for the next cycle of activity? The booms beneath, interpreting the sounds and movements. One of the most remarkable features reported by Idahoans in recent fissure events is the booming, thunderous sound heard from underground, sometimes moments before the ground splits open. These subterranean booms are mysterious, but not entirely unprecedented in places with active faults and rifts. Seismologists know that abrupt movement along rock fractures can produce both seismic waves and audible sound. Where the crust is thin or heavily fractured, as in parts of the Snake River Plain, these noises sometimes traverse the rock and reach the surface. The booms are not just peculiar acoustics, they are signs of energy being released by stress and breaking rocks below. The phenomena suggests that stress is not distributed evenly beneath the plain. Each crack that appears may be the end result of deep, slow stress accumulation followed by sudden release. Residents have described feeling tremors, noticing rattling windows, and animals acting agitated when these booms announce themselves before a fissure form. These sounds are valuable clues for scientists. Along with seismic monitoring, audible events can help experts pinpoint both the timing and the depth of underground movement. Ongoing analysis may help distinguish whether the booms are from simple ground settling, from movement along active faults, or something more significant tied to the region's volcanic framework. Will these auditory warnings precede larger motions in the Earth? Are we hearing the early signs of the deeper forces stirring? Surface impacts, farmland, rivers, and lives upended. For those who call the Snake River Plain home, the appearance of fissures is more than a scientific question. It is a threat to daily life and livelihoods. Farms depend on broad, unbroken fields, yet newly torn earth can render land unusable. Some fissures are large enough to stop tractors, break irrigation, or risk injury to animals. The threat is not just hypothetical. In some cases, sudden cracks have endangered livestock, and there is always worry that people or valuable machines could be caught in a fissure. The fate of the horse lost to a sudden Arizona fissure after heavy rain is a cautionary tale, showing how quickly and dramatically land can change. Infrastructure, too, is at risk. Roads, pipeline, and even rivers are challenged by ground movement. The South Fork of the Snake River, stretching for more than 60 miles across the plain, follows land already shaped by ancient volcanic activity. In places, new fissures have emerged near its banks, raising concerns for the safety of bridges and irrigation structures. Notably, fissures do not form randomly. Their alignment with older, mapped rift features suggests that ancient geology still strongly influences today's hazards. Ranchers have learned to expect cracks to recur in familiar places, reinforcing the idea that each new generation must learn to read the land's warnings. How can communities prepare for such unpredictable hazards? What happens if fissures multiply to the point where vital resources or homes are cut off? Energy beneath our feet, geothermal potential, and risks. For some, Idaho's geothermal wealth is a source of excitement. Tapping into the energy simmering some 2 miles beneath the Snake River Plain holds the promise of clean electricity for the region. Organizations such as the Snake River Geothermal Consortium are actively exploring the enormous heat reservoirs beneath the plain, hoping to design systems that can extract this energy safely. Geothermal resources here are truly immense. Deep wells encounter superheated water and steam, potentially enough to power entire cities. The Mantle's ongoing upwelling keeps these supplies refreshed, as long as they're carefully managed. Yet, there is no separating the benefits from the risks. The same forces that make the Snake River Plain an attractive target for geothermal extraction are those that destabilize its ground. If pressure is released too quickly from below, or if water is injected or withdrawn too aggressively, it could theoretically trigger more frequent fracturing or surface deformation. While careful management can mitigate some risks, there remains an undercurrent of uncertainty. How much geothermal power can safely be taken from the plain before disturbing its delicate internal equilibrium? Experience from other rift and volcanic zones suggests caution is always warranted. Monitoring for seismic signals, slow ground deformation, and unusual thermal output will be vital as energy projects move forward. Can Idaho safely balance its desire for renewable power with respect for the ancient, dynamic forces below? Patterns in the plain, the link between water, basalt, and fractures. The Snake River Plain offers an intricate dance between geology and water. Most farmland here sits atop sheets of ancient basalt, the frozen remains of relentless lava flows from fissures long extinct. These layers are riddled with cracks, voids, and hidden passageways, making the plain as much a geologic sponge as a stone table. Water follows these paths, of least resistance. The Snake River carves its route through a labyrinth that was once a channel for rivers of fire. Over time, water, lava, and soil have intertwined, with rivers sometimes guided, sometimes blocked by the subsurface architecture of ancient eruptions. Heavy rains can provide the last nudge for a fissure to open. Water seeps into old fractures, adding weight and sometimes freezing to expand cracks, or merely lubricates layers of soil that then shift under gravity's pull. When a fissure opens after rainfall, it is rarely just the weather at work. Typically, deeper geologic preconditions are necessary. Basalt layers and rift structures also direct the flow of groundwater, shaping the productivity and stability of the farmland above. Their joint history is a constant reminder that the plain's calm surface hides a complex, ongoing interaction of land, water, and deep heat. Could changing weather patterns or shifting water use tip the balance and accelerate the opening of fissures? Might irrigation or prolonged droughts play a role in future ground movement? Watching and waiting, the future of the Snake River Plain. The appearance of wide fissures, sometimes overnight, has stirred unease among Idahoans and across the nation. For scientists, these are invaluable data points, brief insights into the powerful, ongoing natural story of a restless Earth. For residents, each crack reinforces a sense of living atop land that is both a gift and a risk. Modern monitoring, using seismometers, satellites, and field surveys, offers a clearer picture than ever before. Yet some mystery always remains. While super-eruptions on the scale that first shaped the plain are exceedingly rare, lesser activities such as fissure formation and minor earthquakes can happen at almost any time. Communities respond by reinforcing infrastructure, updating emergency plans, and tracking new fissures as they appear. Every new opening, every unexpected rumbling is a reminder of the region's storied past and the uncertainties of its present. Despite these disturbances, the plain endures. Fields scarred by new cracks are eventually reclaimed by nature or by people adjusting their efforts. Rivers and streams shift course slightly, and life carries on, even as everyone remains alert to next chapter. But as efforts continue to tap the region's underground energy, and as climate and ground conditions shift with the time, the question remains: how much can be predicted, and how much must simply be managed as it arises? As dusk falls across Idaho's broad landscape, the fissures stand out as reminders of geologic drama still underway below. Will the Snake River Plain remain content with such warning signs, or will the cycle escalate? The land keeps its secrets, as it always has. For now, we watch, listen, and wonder what the next change will bring from the depths. What do you make of the mysterious fissures splitting Idaho's heartland? Do you see a story of danger, opportunity, or something even more complex? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Stay with us as we continue to explore the world's most dramatic intersections of land, water, and fire. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because there are always new stories erupting from the earth, just waiting to be discovered.